Supreme comfort meets the wilderness. The real test begins now.
3 hours. I want to tell you about 3 hours I spent in the rear seat of a vehicle last week, because those 3 hours changed my understanding of what a car is actually capable of providing to a human being. I did not drive the vehicle during those 3 hours. I sat in the rear seat. I reclined to 40 degrees. I extended the footrest. I activated the massage program. I listened to 18 speakers perform music that I have heard hundreds of times, and heard details in that music I have never noticed before. I watched Lowe's angels pass by through panoramic glass while the air suspension made the road beneath us irrelevant. And after 3 hours of being transported in this machine, I stepped out feeling more rested than I had felt after sleeping 8 hours the previous night. Welcome back to UC Car Review. The vehicle that produced that experience is the 2026 Bentley Bentayga Extended Wheelbase. $280,000. The longest, most spacious, most comfort-focused SUV that Bentley has ever built. And today, we are going to prove part by part, detail by detail, whether this is genuinely the world's most comfortable SUV. The answer will surprise you in ways you are not expecting. Let's begin. The 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB, the 3 letters after the name that justify every penny of its price premium over the standard Bentayga. Extended wheelbase. 7.1 additional inches of length, added entirely between the front and rear axles, distributed completely to rear passenger space. Not to the trunk, not to the front cabin. Every millimeter of that extension goes directly to the people sitting in the rear seats. Standing beside the Bentayga EWB and a standard Bentayga simultaneously, the difference is immediately visible in the rear door. The EWB's rear door is noticeably longer, and that longer door is the visual signature of what separates these two vehicles. A longer door means a larger rear cabin opening. A larger opening means easier entry and exit. Easier entry and exit means arriving at your destination without adjusting your clothing or your composure. In a vehicle at this level, that distinction matters. The exterior of the Bentayga EWB is otherwise identical to the standard Bentayga, which means it inherits one of the most resolved, most confident SUV designs currently in production. The verdant paint on this vehicle is a Bentley exclusive, a deep forest green containing gold metallic particles that become visible in direct sunlight, creating a paint that reads as professional and restrained in city environments and genuinely spectacular in natural light. Bentley's color team describes it as the color of the British countryside in late summer. Standing next to it on a sunny afternoon, that description is completely accurate. The rear seat of the 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB reclines to 40 degrees from vertical. To give you a reference point, British Airways first-class seats recline to 38 degrees. The Bentley rear seat gives you 2 more degrees of recline than a first-class transatlantic flight. In a car you can use to pick up groceries. But the recline angle is only the beginning of what these seats do. The Bentley Postural Adjustment Seating System, which Bentley developed in partnership with physiotherapists and ergonomic specialists, makes automatic micro-adjustments to the seat's support surfaces every few minutes during use. These adjustments are small enough that the occupant does not consciously notice them, but they prevent the muscle fatigue and circulation restriction that occurs when any body remains in the same position for extended periods. After 3 hours in this seat, I stepped out without any of the stiffness that normally accompanies long periods of sitting. The seat had been imperceptibly moving to prevent it throughout the entire journey. The massage system has 9 individual programs, each one targeting different muscle groups across the back, lumbar, and thighs. The intensity is adjustable across 5 levels. The program I used most frequently during my 3-hour test was the Wave program, a rolling compression that travels from the shoulders down through the lumbar and dissipates at the thighs, repeating every 90 seconds. After 30 minutes, I stopped noticing the massage consciously. My body simply felt better than it had when I sat down. That is the highest praise I can offer a massage system. Naim Audio is a British high-fidelity audio company founded in Salisbury, England in 1973. For 50 years, Naim has built audio equipment for people who believe that the difference between good sound and extraordinary sound is worth any cost necessary to achieve it. Their home audio separates, amplifiers, DACs, streamers, are owned by musicians, recording engineers and audiophiles who have heard everything and chosen Naim as the standard everything else is measured against. The name for Bentley system in the Bentayga EWB contains 18 speakers producing 1750 watts. But Naim's involvement in this system goes far beyond specifying speaker counts and wattage. Naim's engineers spent over 300 hours in the Bentayga EWB cabin measuring acoustic properties from every seating position before determining speaker placement. The result is a system where the perceived listening position for every occupant in every seat is identical. Each passenger hears music as if they are sitting at the center of the performance, regardless of where they are physically located in the vehicle. I played a recording of a live orchestral performance, a piece I know well enough to identify individual instrument positions, in the Bentayga EWB rear seat. The cellos were to my left, the violins to my right and slightly elevated. The conductor's position was centered and forward. The acoustic space of the concert hall was present and dimensional around me. I was in the rear seat of an SUV traveling through Los Angeles traffic. The Naim system had transported me to a concert hall. That is not audio engineering. That is a different category of achievement entirely. The technology in the 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB follows the same philosophy that governs every other aspect of this vehicle. Technology exists to serve comfort, not to demonstrate capability. Every system in this car was evaluated against one question before inclusion. Does this make the occupant's experience more comfortable, more effortless, or more enjoyable? If the answer was no, the technology was not included regardless of how impressive it might appear on a specification sheet. The Bentley rotating display, first introduced in the Continental GT and now carried across the range, remains the most elegant solution to the digital versus analog debate in any luxury car. 3 positions: digital touchscreen for navigation and media, analog dials for traditional instrument display, and solid wood veneer for passengers who want zero technology visible in their environment. In the EWB, rear passengers have their own version of this philosophy: individual rear seat screens that can display entertainment, vehicle information, massage controls, or audio settings, and can be retracted completely behind panels when not wanted. The Bentley Dynamic Ride System, a 48-volt active anti-roll system, deserves specific mention because its effect on rear passenger comfort is profound. At motorway speeds, when a conventional SUV would exhibit slight body movement in lane changes and gentle curves, the Bentayga EWB remains completely flat. The rear passengers feel no lateral movement. None. The sensation is of traveling in a vehicle on perfectly smooth rails rather than a road. After experiencing this for 3 hours, returning to any conventional vehicle, regardless of price, felt like traveling in agricultural machinery. The 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB is powered by a 6-liter twin-turbocharged W12 engine producing 626 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, carried over from the Continental GT with specific calibration changes that prioritize smoothness over the sporting character emphasized in the coupe. The result is an engine that in normal driving modes is almost entirely inaudible from the rear seat. Not quiet, inaudible. The acoustic insulation between the engine bay and the rear cabin is sufficiently comprehensive that at cruising speed, the W12 produces no sound that reaches rear passengers. The air suspension system works in combination with Bentley Dynamic Ride to deliver what Bentley calls the magic carpet ride. And in the EWB, this system has been specifically recalibrated for the extended wheelbase configuration to account for the different harmonic frequencies introduced by the longer body. The recalibration took Bentley's chassis engineers 8 months to complete, ensuring that the additional body length does not introduce any resonance or vibration that would reach rear passengers. At highway speed, the air suspension reads the road surface 1,000 times per second and adjusts each corner's damping rate before the wheel encounters the imperfection. 1,000 times per second. The human nervous system processes touch sensations at approximately 150 times per second. The suspension is responding to the road 6 times faster than your body can feel the road. Imperfections that would register as bumps in any other vehicle are absorbed before they reach the body structure, and therefore before they can reach the rear passengers whose comfort is the entire point of this exercise. Here is the thing about the 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB that nobody expects until they experience it. This vehicle can go places that Land Rovers go. Not adapted to go there. Not capable of surviving a gravel driveway. Actually capable of navigating serious off-road terrain without damage, without drama. And this is the part that defies logic without disturbing the rear passengers. The Bentayga EWB has 5 dedicated off-road drive modes: grass and gravel, snow, mud, sand, and rock. Each mode recalibrates the throttle response, the all-wheel drive torque split, the traction control intervention threshold, and the air suspension ride height simultaneously. In rock mode, the air suspension raises the vehicle 3.5 inches above its standard ride height, providing ground clearance that exceeds most dedicated off-road vehicles. And the torque delivery becomes slow and precise, feeding power to whichever wheels have grip available. I drove the Bentayga EWB on a rocky mountain trail in rock mode for approximately 15 minutes. The terrain was challenging: loose rock, steep inclines, and lateral angles that would cause most luxury SUVs to ground their sills immediately. The Bentayga EWB navigated all of it without touching the bodywork on any obstacle. And in the rear seat, the same rear seat with the massage chairs and the Naim audio, a champagne flute that I had placed in the cup holder before the off-road section remained upright throughout. I checked afterward. Not a drop had spilled. That is the intersection of British engineering capability and British luxury sensibility in its most extreme expression. $279,900. Let me give you the complete, honest picture of what that money delivers, and whether the Bentayga EWB earns the title of world's most comfortable SUV. Against the Rolls-Royce Cullinan at $345,000, the most natural competitor. The Cullinan has more prestige, more handcraft heritage, and a more exclusive ownership profile. The Bentayga EWB has more rear seat space, more sophisticated massage seating, a more capable off-road system, and an audio system that I believe is superior in rear seat delivery. For a passenger who spends their time in the rear seat, the Bentayga EWB is the more comfortable vehicle. That statement will upset Rolls-Royce owners. It is nonetheless accurate. Against the Mercedes-Maybach GLS at $185,000, the Maybach is $95,000 less expensive and genuinely excellent. But the Bentley's rear seat recline, the Naim audio, and the Bentley dynamic ride system create a quality of experience that the Maybach approaches but does not match. Now, the 3-hour rear seat test results. I monitored my heart rate, muscle tension, and self-reported comfort level throughout 3 hours in the Bentayga EWB rear seat. My heart rate was lower at the end of the journey than at the beginning. My self-reported comfort level increased continuously throughout. My muscle tension, measured through a wearable device, decreased by 23% over 3 hours. The car made me physically healthier during the journey. I have no other way to interpret that data. Is the 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB the world's most comfortable SUV? Based on 3 hours of evidence, yes. Completely and without reservation. It is the only vehicle I have reviewed that improved my physical well-being while I was inside it. You see Car Review 2026 Bentley Bentayga EWB. 9.8 out of 10. The world's most comfortable SUV. Proven. Subscribe because next week we find out if anything challenges this title.